You know, this video is about as late as Anomander Rake showing up at the last battle in this book. But you know what? Unlike him, I'm not going to crash the island of this channel into all of my allies. But let's talk about some favorite characters from the third Malazan adventure now. Hey, what's up, bookworms and bridge burners? Mike back today to talk some more Malazan. We're going to finally, officially wrap up Memories of Ice. I did get sick, so this video got a little delayed. Had to get my voice back because we're already reading House of Change right now. But, you know, to officially close down Memories of Ice, we got to rank those characters. Now, this isn't a power level ranking or anything like that. It's just the 10 characters that were my favorite in this book. Not even as a whole, but just Memories of Ice. Now, obviously, lists like this are always fun, but they're just meant to be just that. These are my picks. They're going to be probably very different from yours, but hey, I always encourage you to drop in the comments. Let me know how you would rank yours, other than telling me why mine suck. But this is the internet, and I know these things are going to happen. So let's go ahead and kick it off, guys, with an honorable mention. Yes, I'm going to cheat here, put an honorable mention because I know it's going to be people freaked out that it's not in the top 10 here. I'm going to go with Ganos Paran. And I think the reason why is, look, I liked him better in this book than I did in Gardens of the Moon. He's just not ready to crack into my top 10 yet. What I will give him props for in this book, spoilers, by the way, guys. This is spoilers. I have to talk spoilers. You're in book 3 of the series. It's the 5th video on the book for this one. So yeah, at this point, if you're not reading, I have no idea why you'd be watching this. But okay, spoilers. Yes, I do like that Ganos finally stood up to Silver Fox Tattersail and told her that, you know, hey, I think I might have romanticized our brief, hour together in the last book. So, yeah, I felt like she was very much trying to play off of how much the relationship meant to her, meant to him, and stuff like that. And finally, Ganos had the balls to say, literally, we were together like a day. I think I romanticized that a little bit. So I was like, good for you, buddy. But there is hope. The arrow is pointing up for Ganos to crack into the top 10. Let's start with number 10, kind of burying the lead, kind of what I did in the intro there. Number 10, I'm going with Anomander Rake. Now, I don't know why it's so low, because he was so high on my Gardens of the Moon one, right? I mean, look, he does all the things that you would expect. He's a boss. He shows up to this parlay as a freaking dragon, for God's sake. So he's no less the badass that he was in the first book. But they're just decisions that he made in this book where I was like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you showing up to this battle so late and then just standing out on the front of Moonspawn with letting your hair flip in the wind, just trying to look like a badass? I know that he likes to make an entrance, but he kind of edges on drama queen a little bit for me in this one. But I did really appreciate the relationship between him and Whiskey Jack. I really did. The fact that, this guy doesn't make a lot of friends, and he seems to form a bond with Whiskey Jack. And those are some of my favorite moments, especially when he's just, stabbing all the Tenniscoury, and Whiskey Jack and him kind of like throw down in the middle of the field to say, they don't deserve this. So really, really good moments there. But again, I didn't feel like he did enough in this book for me to justify ranking him any higher than that. Now, this one's going to surprise some people because people know that I do not like the character. Now, what I mean by this is, look, if you have extreme hatred towards a character, you're feeling something. It's the characters that you're like, I don't care one way or the other. They could die, and I would just shrug, to where I feel like that's a character that is a character that you just wouldn't care about. This one is a bad dude, but Erickson's writing him in a way that I'm interested in. And this is Calor. I think first getting him, just seeing how just like much of a tyrant this guy is in the prologue, but just continue to see that like this guy is not to be trusted one lick. And yeah, everyone basically except Caladan Brew knew what was going to happen when he left to go confront Whiskey Jack and the others. We all knew how that was going to end. Yeah, he kills off a fan favorite. And obviously that's going to get a lot of attention. But I'm really intrigued with this guy's backstory. I want to know what he did during all this time. Has some of my favorite quotes in this book about, I've commanded, armies 10,000 strong while the Talana Moss were still children. There's some of my favorite stuff in here. So I want to know more about this character, about his past, know what his plan is, going to be with the crippled god here. So lots of things where, yeah, I hate him, but in the way that you're supposed to hate a character like this. So that's why he's actually on this list. Number 8, we got to go with the younger here, and that is Toc the Younger. I liked him better in Guardians of the Moon than this one, because I felt like in this one it was just watching him get tortured. But it was one of the dumb things was him just deciding to lead the protection of Lady Envy and the Segula and Tool and all that. But his relationship with Tool is one of my favorite parts of the book. The first half where they're actually traveling together is some of my favorite parts of this entire book. That's a bromance that I am totally here for. And, there at the end, when Tool's basically, knocking down walls to come save his brother, as he puts it, some of the best stuff. But, yeah, the character arc that he takes in this one is quite interesting. And I don't know really where it's going from here with him now being like Toc and Aster or whatever. But it's always a fun time to see Toc. I said I felt like he is the everyman, and kind of almost like where he is the reader who is like, yeah, I'm finding this just as weird as you are, reader. We're going to go through this together. That does kind of continue here, and I like the way that he is written. In the poor guy, just, like I said, it reminded me of Stargate SG-1, where Colonel O'Neill gets captured by a system lord and gets killed over and over and over again and keeps getting revived and killed. That's kind of what the torture and the healing and the crushing and the healing just kind of made me think of. So maybe it's a little bit of my Stargate bias when they're going through for that storyline there. Let's move along here to number 7, guys. It is hammer time. Caladan Brood, I'm going to give him props for one thing, for doing what any sane person wanted to do, and that is crush Krupp with that goddamn hammer. Yes, guys, shocking news. If you've watched any of the covers on this channel, Krupp is not on this list. I cannot stand that character. And the fact that, Caladan Brood felt like me and just wanted to crush the puny man, I kind of understood. But getting the whole backstory with Burn and the hammer and all that, why he has been so reluctant to use it, was something I felt like had been missing. And it's this thing now where with Calor and Caladan Brood and Anomander Rake is I want to know these three. I want to know their history. Throw some Draconis in there too. I want to know their history together that predates everything in this series. I think that's either Kanakis. I always say that word wrong. Or is it Path to Ascendancy? I can't remember. Apparently there is some of that stuff in some of these prequel books. So I'm never taking those off the table as something that has my interest. But yeah, with Caladan Brood, just like getting to know a little bit more about him really helped me be more intrigued with this character. And the fact that he was so close to just ending things there at the end, but still always finds a way to kind of check his swing, if you will. It shows that the guy does have a lot more going on up here than just, Hulk smash, Number 6, a new character here. While I am not crazy about Whiskey Jack, and I know that's like a hot take for a lot of people, I really did like his relationship with Korlat. And Korlat was a character that I thought showed a lot of layers. And what I've said in my spoiler talks is that while Whiskey Jack's death didn't really affect me that much because I was kind of lukewarm on the character, I was really affected by her reaction to his death. That's some of the good stuff there. Obviously, I have my hot take on how I feel about death in this series, but the living's reaction to death will probably be the thing that's more upsetting to me going forward. And it's very much on display with Whiskey Jack's death here for Korlat. But just, again, anyone that can shapeshift into a dragon, you got my attention. I'm an old school fantasy fan in that regard, but Korlat is a character that I usually am against, the whole insta-love angle. When you're on the eve of a battle like this and you're probably going to die, you can see people going, you know what, we're going to skip the middle part and we're going to go right to the end of the relationship. So I can understand it under those circumstances, not just, hey, love at first sight. But even though it did just kind of seem like it was starting off as just kind of a tryst, it did seem to be very, very emotionally powerful there at the end. And I was very, very upset when I thought that Calor had killed her. So the fact that she's there, I hope she will be sticking around. Number 5, I got to go with the Quick Ben. Now, Quick Ben is a character in the first book I liked, but I was still kind of curious about his power level. With this, I don't know how much of it is the Talamandas little wooden puppet and how much is him, but dude throws down in this book. Whenever there's anything that needed to get done, Quick Ben got it done in this book. He throws down. He pretty much is like the MVP of this book. He does so much there with the Seer at the end. So many good things that he does in this book, and it's just, he's very much a man of action. The whole like underground stuff and all that, probably pretty much still over my head. Why is Burns sleeping? All that. But, you know, whenever it came to be time for some action, Quick Ben was the one to get it done. And I can't wait for that eventual reunion of him and Kalam. I know it's going to happen eventually. I just don't know when it's going to happen. But I really did think that it was going to be, they were going to kind of be like the buddy cop duo in this universe, and they haven't really been together since book 1. So I'm kind of waiting for that reunion. I think it's maybe so much of the Rhaenyra I've been reading lately. I kind of want that 1-2 punch that Royce and Hadrian gave me. I kind of want it in this universe with Kalam and Quick Ben. Number 4, another new character. I do not trust her, but I am very, very intrigued with Lady Envy. I think Lady Envy is a very, very cool character. I want to know what's going on. The fact that you know who her father is, and you know who what happened with her father and Rake, and then you kind of think, hey, wait, when her and Rake were kind of a couple. So I'm like, yeah, that's not kind of relationship status. Complicated, but yeah, I love the way that she kind of her banter with Toc there, and you see Toc is I wouldn't say that he's the point where not interested as much as he's just like freaked out. He's like, this is a power level beyond anything of my reckoning, so I gotta go, you know. So but that's a lot of fun seeing her with the Segula stuff. I love one of the things that she does in the story is when Toc and some of the Segula are kind of basically establishing dominance, and they're having a sword fight every couple of pages, and at one point it's just like, oh, they're doing that again, and they go in the background and kind of fight, and then it leaves Lady Envy open to do her exposition scenes with Toc. I think that's really, really fun way. It kind of made it a little bit of humor, because whenever you're dealing with a series as dark as this, I think it needs a little bit of humor, and Erickson does give us that humor in the best ways, where it isn't just like taking you out of it or breaking a fourth wall. But Lady Envy is always very, very good for that. Number 3, yet another new character. And this is what I want, guys. I want new characters, not just returning favorites, to be my favorites in some of these books here. I got to go with Itkovian. And the reason why is because this series was sold to me on, well, the main theme of this series is compassion. And I didn't see it up to this point. I'm sorry. Mappo healing some dogs after you just watched 10,000 people and 1,300 kids get killed. Yeah, that to me was like, no, that's not enough, you guys. With this, it was the first time you've seen a character actually lead with compassion, and it was earned. You know, I feel like this is the first time in the series with this book that I really feel like that was a very central theme with this story. So I got it here, and Itkovian kind of led the way for that. It was one of those things where while I wasn't like sad when he died, it was one of those things like, okay, he earned. He went out like a hero. Good for him. You know, he did everything the way that he should have done. He went out like a champ, you know, and it was there his grave at the the Talon and Moss leaving something on his grave. That's when it was kind of like, all right, this is powerful stuff. But a very likable character. I didn't like him and when I say I didn't like him at first, it's just it was so many new characters being thrown at me. I didn't know how I felt about him at first, but through the course of the story, of course, I really did grow to like him and his relationship with Gruntle, which is a good segue to number 2, guys. And it's so funny because I did my spoiler talk number 1 for Memories of Ice, and I was saying that Gruntle is one of those characters I'm just not that wild about yet. And then about 20 pages later, I was ready to change the name of the channel to this is a Gruntle fan account, you know, because Gruntle is amazing in this book. I think that he is probably a top 5 character in the series now for me. That's how much I liked his character arc in this one. Him with the bloody tunic, using it as the standard, the child's bloody tunic. Such an amazing moment. Easily my favorite moment from this book. And him and his counterparts killing so many people they have to keep going up floors just because there's so many bodies. That's just brutal stuff. But it gave some depth to the whole Trake thing, which was before I was like, what in the world is this talking about? This tiger gods and all this stuff. But it was really, really cool. Like by the end, I'm singing Eye of the Tiger, and I'm like, Gruntle fans only on my t-shirt here. Yeah, awesome character. And under any other circumstance, he would have been number 1. Now, if you follow the channel, you're on the Discord, anything at all, you know that it was going to be probably impossible to knock off my number 1, because this case, it is a returning favorite, and I did want to see more of him. He was my favorite in Guardians of the Moon, and he continues to be my favorite in Memories of Ice, and this is Onos Toulon, or our boy Tool, as we call him. Again, a character that has so much dry humor, and it lands every single time. But the themes of friendship in this, of brotherhood, of respect for your equals or your betters, the relationship with him and Mock, where you keep waiting for this fight the whole time, and when you finally get it, it meets those expectations. But again, there where he goes basically Stone Cold Steve Austin, he's just going to take out everyone in Korlat to get to save his boy Toc. Just such a great moment. Even Toc did what Toc did, but yeah, I love everything with him in this book. The stuff with, like I said, with the Segula is really good. His stuff with Envy is good, and I think that this is kind of about as happy of an ending for a character as you are going to get in the Malazan world with the way that things go for him in this book. So I don't know at this point if this is kind of the end of Tool in this series as a main character. I'm sure he'll show up again because this universe is so big and vivacious. I would be shocked to see him again, but I don't know really what else there is left to do with him that couldn't be just kind of summed up in a paragraph. So we'll see. I don't know. It's kind of, so that's something that might end up being funny at the end. But with 3 of these videos in here, 2/3 of them have been dominated by Tool, because Tool is just the man. And to beat the man, you gotta beat the man. Okay, guys, so much with the wrestling references. Sorry about that. So, guys, that was my characters for Memories of Ice. What were your rankings? Drop in the comments and let me know, and I will talk to you guys there.